Welcome back to my channel. Once again, I'm back. Well, I went for my vacation, same as Biggie. So if you missed me, please comment on the comment section below. Anyway guys, please, if you're watching this video and you're yet to subscribe to my channel, my dear, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe and please subscribe and be updated for the latest at our phone and all these things. Please, I'm going to change the way I'm going to be posting. I'm going to be posting regularly because of my schedule, so I'm going to be posting a rundown of every week's event. But today is a special day because what happened yesterday was actually very long, so I had to give it down because I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to incubate this in my rundown, you get me? So I don't know what I'm going to actually be able to incubate this in my rundown, so I just decided to push this here. You know, Biggie actually went on a vacation, as I said earlier, and he gave his housemates a rule. You know, mostly they conduct their diary sessions on Mondays and Thursdays. Monday, you talk about how the eviction was, how you felt, and all those things you did last week. And then on Thursday, you talk about the upcoming eviction and the nomination and all those things. So the first rule in this, the first step to this diary session, which happened yesterday, that was on Thursday, was that you have to pair with another housemate. One of the housemates will have to act as Biggie, and the other one will act as the housemate. So the first pairing we had was Tricky T and Neil, and the first question went like this. Neil in this perspective was Biggie and Tricky T was the housemate, and Neil as Biggie asked him, if you have a magical flower to pick a romantic partner in the house without fear of judgment, who would it be and why would you pick that person? All of us already know who was bonding with when this whole thing started, and it was Kaisha. He said that the person would have picked in the house would have been Kaisha, but she was evicted last week, so he's going to pick Dorothy. And they asked him why, and he said because he likes Dorothy's vibe. Dorothy is a very nice person. She's sassy, she's kind, she's funny, and the whole thing will just be so fun, you know, with her, and they'll not be having any dull moments. But if he's with Watoni, she thinks that Watoni is kind of too emotional. So the second question went like this, was like, if you could change a house rule, what should it be? And Tricky T said that he would change the gender-based rule for picking deputy HOH. There was this rule that Biggie actually gave in the house that if you win HOH, your deputy HOH must be a female. So he was asked why. He asked why. He said because he wants them to be feeling free to choose anybody, because in some cases when you want to choose somebody, probably you don't want to choose a female housemate, and you'll be so forced in that situation to choose that female housemate, and it will be so uncomfortable, you get me? So they now asked him the third question, which was, if you have a guaranteed 20 million naira to leave, would you take it and quit the game? And he said no, that he'd rather stay in the house, enjoy the experience, and stay to the finals if possible. And then I was now asking him, Tricky T, this 85 million naira is not guaranteed. Nobody. So if they just pick 20 million naira now for your mind, for your front, now and say you take this and leave this big brother house, you're not gonna take them. Okay. Anyway, after those people, we had the next pairing. The next pairing was Laycon and Watoni. Laycon in this perspective was Biggie, and Watoni was the HM. So the first question was, who do you think is the least deserving housemate currently? And Watoni said she doesn't feel anybody is least deserving, that she feels like everybody deserves to be in that house. Second question was, if you could change a house rule, what would it be and why? And she said the new rule Biggie said about visitations in the HOH lounge. There was this if you win HOH the first week, you're not supposed to participate in the game in the next week. So the last week, Erica won HOH, and she picked Kid Wire as her deputy. So in the next week, that's this week we're in, Kid Wire won HOH, and Erica is supposed to participate in the game. He had to choose Tolani Badge, and Biggie now gave a rule, which was you could allow anybody to come and visit you. That rule was not there before, but he said he could allow anybody to come and visit you. And all the time, Erica is always going in there with Kid, and most times Solani Badge is not even sleeping in the room. She's always sleeping in the main room, and Erica is sleeping there. So I think this is the reason why Watoni actually said that was why she wanted Biggie to change that room. So then after that, the next question. The next question that she was asked was, so one of the after Watoni and Lakon, the next highlight which actually got my brain spinning that yesterday was a pairing between Lucy and Tolani Badge. Tolani Badge in this case was Biggie and Lucy was the HM. The first question was, who is the biggest liar in the house? And Lucy said she feels it's new because of something Katrina told her, but she wouldn't want to talk about it. And if you can remember in my former video, before Katrina was evicted from the house, the Sunday she was evicted, she shared this juicy gossip with Lucy and Dorothy, saying that Neo actually confided in her that he's trying to use V to perfect his gigolo business, when he's actually playing the perfect lover boy role, that those rich women out there will see that he's a very nice lover and all those things. So I was not like, oh god, maybe that's why, that is the reason why Lucy actually called him. So the second question which Tolani Badge actually told her was, if you had a magical power to pick a particular housemate without fear of judgment, who would it be and why? My people, guess who she chose? Hey God, guess who she chose? She chose Praise. Oh God. After the whole thing that Praise and Katrina had in the house, I think these two people, Katrina and Lucy, they actually behave in the same manner, the same direction. After Katrina and Praise had their rendezvous, Katrina was actually evicted from the house, and we had Lucy. Lucy was now the replacement to Praise, and Lucy said Praise, but that there'll be a lot of complications outside the house, seeing as Praise has a woman he already intends to marry outside the house, and she already has a son for him. So I'm not like, hey God, you see these two people, you see this Lucy and this Praise, they'll just be running around each other. Even today, even yesterday, earlier in their wager, they were actually asked to pair. They're actually paired up for their poem reciting and all those things. These two people. Oh God. Okay, let me continue. Okay, the third question that she was asked, do you think you're misunderstood by your fellow housemates? And she said no, that she feels everybody understands her completely. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. After that, we had the next pairing. The next pairing was Nengi and Praise. In this perspective, Nengi was Biggie and Praise was the HM. They asked him the first question, okay, what is the biggest lie you've told? And he said that, he said the lie he told was he wasn't in touch with the person. He lied that he wasn't in touch with the person. Why he was in touch with that person? And they asked him second question, okay, tell Biggie a personal story and how it made you feel. Talk about his son, how when he was born he felt responsible, he felt responsible, he felt important, he felt powerful because somebody else depended on him and all those things. Then I asked him the third question. I said, is there anyone you feel you need to forgive outside the house? Who would it be? And he said none. It's actually a lot of people because of what they've said about his lifestyle and him. So that one. We now had Tricky T and Nengi. The next pair was Tricky T and Nengi. In this perspective, Tricky T was Biggie and Nengi was the HM. So they now told Nengi, the first question was, Nengi, the first one was send a personal message to somebody outside the house. It should not be your relative, it should not be someone that's close, it should not be your family. And Nengi did a shout out to her auntie for raising her even after her parents died and she was an orphan and all those things, that she took care of her, took her in when nobody could take her in and raised her as her own child, that she really, really appreciates it, and words cannot express how she's actually indebted to her. Then I asked her the second question. She now said, they asked her, they said, do you think you have a relationship you are not genuine? And guys, like, really, I was expecting her to say also, but probably her defense might be that she has actually been, putting it straight to it also. She said no, that she believes she's being real and true with everybody and she's on good terms with them. The third question was, what would you do with your wins? And she said she hopes to use her winnings to expand her business and clothing line and shoe line and all those things. Please, I'm not going to go into all the pairings, please. I'm just going to get the ones that are so juicy and sweet. Okay, we have the next one. The next pairing was Kidwire and V. In this perspective, Kidwire was Biggie and V was the HM. They asked, okay, the first question was, what is the biggest lie you've ever told? And V said, the biggest lie she's ever told was telling someone that she didn't love, that she loved the person. And my mind just ran to somewhere. I was like, Neo, like, okay, during her birthday, that was on Wednesday, Neo got flowers, cake, wine, and all those things for her. And everybody gave their speeches about V to her, and it was Neo's turn, and Neo stood there and gave a heartwarming, perfect lover boy rope speech. And V was crying. At the end of the whole speech, it stopped with "I love you," and V was like, "I love you too," and they kissed. And I'm like, is that what she's actually referring to? But probably there is somebody out there that she's actually talking about. There's actually a very good possibility of that. Then I asked her the second question. They asked, okay, give a personal message to a special person outside the house who is not your family member or your close relative. And she did a shout out to a girl. Okay. Then I asked her the third question, which relationship would she break if she had, okay, if they asked her which relationship would she break if, okay, to advance her game. And she said Prince and Tolani Badge. Are you serious? Prince and Tolani Badge. Okay, then I asked her why. She said she feels there is no headway to the Prince and Tolani Badge relationship, and she feels that Prince is competitive and she would try to break it so that Tolani Badge would focus on her game. I'm like, babe, what's your business? This is a relationship. Who called you to settle the matter? Eh? Who called you? Did Tolani Badge ask for your help? Should she enter with her two eyes? Who called you? Well, anyway, please, I'm not trying to be biased. I'm just trying to bring out my own opinion in all these things. So we had the next pairing, which was Prince and Brighto. In this perspective, Prince was Biggie and Brighto was HM. And I asked him the first question, if you could break up a relationship in the house which you're not involved in to enhance your game, which would it be? And Brighto said Nengi and Ozo's relationship. And they asked him why. He said because it's not heading anywhere. He would break up the relationship because he feels there are other relationships that have destination and plans. And I'm like, really, he has a point. But really, I don't think Nengi and Ozo have a relationship. I just think it's also that just killing himself and Nengi is just pushing him away and all those things. We now have the second question. They asked him, tell Big a personal story and how it made you feel. He said earlier in the house when he came in, people misunderstood him because he was low-key and quiet, and now they understand him and he feels they're getting to know him better, which he likes. Then I asked him the third question, how much have you won in the house tax and what would you want to do with it? And he said he'd won over 900,000 naira, and first of all he would want to pay his tithes to his creator because he has an agreement with God. And I'm like, oh, that guy is good. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. A lot of people will be calling him Pastor Brighton, and I'm like, probably just a simple way he's dressing, but now he really proved that he's a pastor. And he said that he would give some to his mother and he would take some professional courses. They asked him, okay, the next pairing we had was Lucy and Lekon. In this perspective, Lucy was Big Brother and Lekon was the HM. The first question was, outside the house, is there anyone you would like to forgive, and who would it be and why? And Lekon said no one. Probably he needs to be forgiven for something, but there is nobody he keeps grudges with. And second question was, who is the least deserving housemate? And really, this question came about three times to three different housemates, and nobody actually said anything. All of them just said no. So please, if I should bring up this question, just know the answer is no. He said no, that he thinks everyone deserves it because they've come a long way to get there. And they asked him the third question, if you could turn back the hands of time, what events in the house would you reverse? And he said he would reverse the Dulux challenge because his team should have won, but they didn't win and it pained him because he gave them a suggestion and they clamped the suggestion off. We now had the next pairing, which was V and Neo. So romantic. This is the most romantic pairing I've ever seen. So the next pairing, V was Biggie and Neo was the HM. The first question that Biggie supposed Biggie asked Neo was, "What's the biggest lie you've ever told?" And he said that he'd lie countless times about having traveled around the world, and that he lied because his parents actually travel around the world a lot, and when they come back they tell him these stories of their tales and everything, and when they tell him this story, that the story is stick, and so whenever his friends actually ask him something about his whole travels, he just relates the story that his parents actually tell him to them. We now have the second question. Okay, and then the second question that suppose Biggie, which was V, asked Neo again was, if you were to pick a female housemate for a romantic partner without fear of judgment, who would it be? And he said V. I wasn't even surprised because I was looking at V. He now said all these really, really cute and loving things about her. He said he would choose V because she's special, and special people are very rare, and she has a pure heart, and she could be very difficult to understand sometimes. Sorry. I think he's just being sentimental. I really think he's just being sentimental. And he was smiling all along like a rat. So anyway, we now had the third question, which we asked him, if you could change one house rule, what would it be? And he said the HOH game, where the recent HOH can't pick the next can't play the next week. He feels it's an unfair privilege. And that's actually a very good point. Now I have the breaking tables, the table breaking, wrenching ones. We have the next one, which was Ozzo and Dorothy. There'll be some tension between these two lately, as Ozzo has been getting close to Nengi, thinking he might actually win her heart. So these two, and actually Dorothy actually asked Ozzo to give her space. I will mention this in my videos. My video I'm going to drop tomorrow or next. So the question, in this case, also was Biggie and Dorothy was HM. First question was, if you're offered a guaranteed 20 million naira to leave the house, will you take it? She said no, that she wouldn't take it, and also repeated the question and asked her, if you are offered a guaranteed 20 million naira to leave the house, will you take it? She said that she wouldn't take it because first, that she doesn't trust people, but that if the money was standing right in front of her, that why would she take it? That she take it and leave the house. But if it's just words that she doesn't trust it, that's words, people can be very disappointing. And then the second question that also asked her was, if you could turn back the hands of time, what event would you reverse in the house? And guys, what she said really shocked me. Also was really shook. He was shook to his bones. He was shook. She said that she wouldn't have gotten very close to Ozzo, that she actually got really carried away with the attention he gave her, and that made her not bond with other people in the house. And Ozzo was just like, as big, you're not supposed to reply back. And I was like, oh man, that girl really hit you hard. Because I don't get why Ozzo, whenever he goes with his whole Nengi thing, if he falls out with Nengi, he tries to run back to Dorothy to fall on her. And please, I love the way she just poke her mind and place that guy in his place. So the third question which Biggie asked her was, do you think you are not understood by your fellow housemate? She said no, that everyone completely understands her, and she doesn't think that anyone misunderstands her. So we have the next pairing. The next pairing was Watoni and Erica. Watoni in this case was Biggie and Erica was HM. The first question was, tell Biggie a personal story and how it made you feel. And Erica went on to say how she's been looking for her dad ever since, and when she finally found him on social media, he wasn't even that surprised. He wasn't even acting like, hey, I just found my long lost daughter. He wasn't even acting welcoming, and she doesn't know if she thinks she's forgiving him, but she doesn't know if she has really forgiven him. And I really get that. It's really painful. That kind of a thing is really painful. You waste your whole time, effort, and energy looking for somebody. At the end of the day, you feel like that person just doesn't want to be found, or that person just doesn't want you around them. So the second question was, who do you think is the least deserving housemate? And I still said, the answer. She said everyone deserves to be in the house. They now asked her they asked her the last. Okay, they asked her the last question. which she answered. And last one, they asked, what would you like to tell Biggie? And she went on to express how she fell out to her Tony and how she didn't actually mean to insult her son and all those things. She went on apologizing, and she asked Watoni, do you have anything to say? And Watoni said, I'm Biggie, I can't say anything. Watoni was smiling. Probably that their friendship might actually be repaired. We now have Erica and Praise. Oh, guys, I really felt this. I really felt for Erica. Man. Well, let's get to it, please. Erica was Biggie and Prince was the housemate. The first question was, if you could break up a relationship in the house which you're not involved in, who would it be? Guys, guess who it is? Guess who it was? He said that he would break Erica and Kidwaya's relationship. He said that he will literally break Erica and Kidwaya's relationship, not even minding that Erica was Biggie. And Erica literally shouted like, what? Why? And he said, reason be that he thinks that it's just infatuation on the side of Kid, but that Erica is really a nice girl, and he doesn't want her at the end of the day to be hurt. And Erica's mood just dropped to zero. She was, and Prince was like, I was like, God, this guy, they need to give him kudos, because if nobody have to tell Erica the truth, at least somebody has. I'm like, she's been all over this guy, and this guy obviously is just infatuated with her. He doesn't really want something so deep with her. Imagine, I said in my video earlier one time, he said whenever he comes back to Abuja, the first person he's going to see is Lilo. Why he's talking with the girl that he's with? He didn't even consider that she was even staying there. Oh God, that guy. And when she said, okay, he feels like, let me read it as he said. He said, reason be that it's just infatuation on the side of Kid. I admire Erica and I feel like she's going to get hot at the end of the day. And Amu just tried to change. Second question was, who is the biggest liar in the house? And he said, well, he has no idea, and that at this point in time he can never tell who is lying and who is not lying. Third question was, if you are offered a guaranteed 20 million naira, would you collect it and leave the house? And he said he was actually in a dilemma. He doesn't know if he could take it or he will not take it. We now have the next pairing, which was, so we have the final pairing that was mind-blowing. Other people had their pairings too, but I didn't bring them out because there was nothing really speculating, nothing really surprising, or nothing really, mind-blowing or highlighting about their whole pairing. It was just all normal. We now had the next pairing, which was Dorothy and Kidwaya. Dorothy in this case was Biggie and Kidwaya was the HM. And first question was, who is the biggest liar in the house? And he said Praise. Reason be that Praise always has stories to share. He always has something to say. And someone that shares a lot of stories, always been in people's experiences, to him it feels like Praise is actually lying. So he was like, and calm down, not even the food just yet. So he was like that Praise feels like Praise is the biggest liar because he's always talking, he's always sharing stories, he always has something to say, and to him it feels like Praise is not being honest with everybody in the house. So the second question was, he was asked to share a personal story and how it made him feel, and he said that, and he talked about when he was asked share a personal story and how it made him feel. Kidway was like, he's been in boarding school ever since the age of 6, and that made him very independent. He became very strong, became mature, turned into the man he is today. The third question, which Biggie asked him, was if you could pick a romantic partner, a romantic interest without the fear of judgment, who would it be? And he said nobody except Erica, because he doesn't feel romantically attracted to anybody except Erica. And that's how their session ended. Anyway guys, please stay tuned because I'm still going to release a rundown of this week's events. I'm sorry if I haven't really been posting, but don't worry, your girl is here. I'm not letting you down. I'm not going anywhere, you get me? So please hit on the bell button and subscribe to my channel. And please keep your comments polite and respectful. The time's already there, but please, I want you to comment, criticize constructively so I can change whatever I want to change and give you the content you want. Thank you guys. Please stay tuned.